Hi boys and girls. Today we are going to pretend like we are at the beach reading our book. So I have my handy dandy hat on and I have my beach towel behind me. Miss Williams loves flip-flops. I know you can't see it, but it even has my name on it. So we're going to pretend like we are at the beach, even though it looks like it's about to rain. So, I hope you enjoyed listening to the story yesterday with the guest reader Colton. He had a good time reading to you, and I just wanted to thank those of you that sent him a quick little note and asked him some questions and just thanked him for reading to you. That was really nice. Okay, so picking up today with chapter 74, and the wild robot escapes the sky. Now my hat is causing a shadow. Hours passed and the sun set in the west. More hours passed and the eastern sky began to glow. Roz spent that whole night in the park waiting for Strutter to return with Brightbill, but there was no sign of them. In fact, there weren't any birds in the park at all. Roz couldn't let those thoughts distract her. She needed to stay alert. The park ranger robot had seen her once or twice already, and now she heard his footsteps wherever she went. Was the park ranger following Roz? Had he noticed our robot's unit number? Would he report her to the Ricos? Roz took a pathway into the woods, trying to escape the ranger's view, and that's when she heard familiar voices calling from the sky. "Where are you, Ma?" said Brightbill. "Come on out, Roz," said Strutter. Roz turned toward the voices, but saw only leaves and branches. Brightbill and Strutter were flying somewhere above the woods. She wanted to call back to them, but the park ranger was still trailing her. Instead, she followed the sounds of their voices as they glided over the treetops. But then there came a new sound, a buzzing sound. It grew louder and closer. Air started blasting down from the sky, and when Roz looked up, she saw a white triangular airship floating above her. Chapter 75, The Ricos. 3 robots zipped down from the airship on cables. The ground shook as their heavy feet slammed against the cobblestones. Then they stood side by side, forming a wall. With their eyes locked on Roz, they were Rico 4, Rico 5, and Rico 6. "Hello, Rosum, Unit 7134. We are the Ricos. Please come with us." The robotic voice belonged to Rico 4. He and his partners waited for their target to come forward, but Roz didn't move. She knew how dangerous the Ricos could be, and so did her son. From somewhere in the sky, Brightbill's frightened voice cried out, "Run, Mama, run!" So Roz ran. She dashed up the pathway and leaped into the woods. You see those pictures? Without crunching a weed, without rustling a leaf, the robot vanished into the thick foliage. The Ricos weren't concerned. They had other ways of tracking her, or so they thought. Their blocky heads swiveled from side to side, scanning the woods for Roz's electronic signal. They scanned and scanned and scanned, but they found no trace of their target. Chapter 76, The Morning. A steady stream of foot traffic was flowing past the park that morning. Several pairs of eyes noticed a Rosum robot running out from the trees. They watched as she looked around and then started marching along the sidewalk with the rest of the crowd. Roz had lost the Ricos back in the woods, but she knew they wouldn't stop searching for her. She needed to blend in with the normal robots on the street. So when she came upon a work crew marching toward a construction site, She tried to join the end of the line, but the crew immediately halted and turned to face her. Our robot stepped backward, away from the crew, and bumped into a young woman. "I am sorry," said Roz, gently grasping the woman's shoulder. "Get your hands off me! Whose robot is this? There's something wrong with her." Everyone stopped and stared. Humans pointed. Automobiles slowed. There were whispers about a defective robot on the loose. And then the white triangular airship appeared. It floated out from between tall buildings and headed for our robot. Roz lurched forward and backward again and again, trying to think of a plan, until a voice suddenly squawked behind her. "Follow us, Mama!" Bright Bill and Strutter swooped past, and the robot went racing after them. She wove through the crowd, sprinted down streets, leaped across intersections. Horns blared and humans screamed and robots shuffled out of the way. The birds made one last turn and fluttered into a narrow side street. A group of tomcats were there, lurking in the shadows. They crouched and licked their lips and dreamed of feasting on the goose and the pigeon. Then the robot came stomping up, and the cats hissed and scattered in every direction. Strutter pointed to a heavy circular panel set in the pavement and said, "Lift that up." Roz lifted the panel. Beneath it was a ladder that descended into a deep, dark hole. "Climb down here," said Strutter. "A friend of mine is expecting you." The robot looked from the pigeon to the goose. "Do what she says, Ma," cried Bright Bill. "There's no time to waste." "But how will I find you again?" said Roz. "Just go." Can you see that picture of the ladder going down? Okay, chapter 77, The Underground. Our robot was standing in a long, shadowy tunnel. Murky water trickled along the floor and sour smells filled the air. Roz was below ground in the city sewers. That would not smell good. There was a squeak, and the robot's headlights flashed onto a crack in the wall. A rat's pointy face poked out. "You must be Roz," said the rat, wiggling his nose. "I hear you're in trouble." "That is correct," said the robot. "I need to get as far from here as possible." "I know where to take you," said the rat, and he started scampering down the tunnel. The rat knew the sewers better than anyone, but his short legs couldn't carry him very fast. So Roz carried him. She scooped him up, plopped him on her shoulder, and said, "Tell me where to run." With the rat squeaking directions in her ear, Roz stomped deeper into the underground. She splashed down side tunnels, crawled through narrow passageways, carefully crossed subway tracks. Occasionally they came upon cavernous chambers. Most of the chambers were empty, but some contained jumbles of pipes. The rat would scurry across the damp, dirty floor while the robot climbed the pipes as if they were trees. Mechanical sounds echoed out from some of the tunnels. Robot crews were hard at work. They spent their lives laboring below the city. Many would never even see the light of day. Roz was curious, of course, but she dared not spy on them. Those workers had no idea that a fellow robot was sneaking through their underground home. After traveling through miles of tunnels, the rat and the robot came to a dead end. A ladder was bolted to the wall and disappeared into a hole in the ceiling. "I don't know what you'll find up there," squeaked the rat, "but good luck." "It cannot be any worse than where I was," said Roz, placing him on the ground. "Thank you for your help." The robot gave the rat a quick scratch behind his ears, and then she climbed up to the street. And that's where we're going to stop today, boys and girls. We'll pick up with chapter 78, The Chase, tomorrow. And today is, what is today? Miss Williams has been busy. The 29th. All right. From 365 Days of Wonder. Don't wait until you know who you are to get started. You can't wait that long. You just have to get started. Get started on all those activities and things you want to learn how to do. And I did not prepare a joke for today, so we don't have a joke for today. So sorry. One more thing. I was going to ask Sammy. I noticed yesterday Colton spelled out R-E-C-O, and Mrs. Williams says Rico. And I know Sammy listened to the audiobook on a trip a few months ago. So I was going to ask Sammy if he would email me and let me know how they said it in the Audible book. So is it R-E-C-O's or is it Rico's? Let us know, Sammy. All right, boys and girls, I will talk to you tomorrow and we'll have some more of our book. Love y'all.